Hey guys, CrossX here. And today we're going to be talking about the top CSGO trade-ups under $5 for June 2021. Did a similar video a little while back about October in 2020, and since then a lot of things have changed in the CSGO market. And so today we're going to go back and review what's changed, what trade-ups are still viable, and which ones are new and which ones I would suggest. And with that, let's get into the video. Alright, starting off, first we're going to have this trade up here. It costs $1.67 on average. Depending on what you're able to get stuff on as the Steam market moves, might be a little bit higher, might be a little bit lower if you buy off of the Steam market on a third-party website. But here's what it looks like. You're going to need one field-tested gray skin from the baggage collection, preferably with a float of 0.22 or less. I used the CZ in this mock contract because it is the cheapest of all the gray skins as of right now. You're also going to want 9 factory new gray skins from the 2018 Nuke collection. It doesn't matter which you use because they should all be the same price, but you're going to want a float of 0.05 or less. This is going to give you these sets of outcomes here. You have a 10% chance to profit, with the P90 leather being the best profitable item at $8.19, then the MAC-10 at $7.61, the SG at $6.49, and the P2000 at $7. These other items, you're going to lose around $1.20, $1.40, $1.40, or $1.40. So if you hit this trade up, you're probably going to make anywhere in between $7 to $8, and if you miss it, you're going to lose about $1.40 on average. Alright, for this second trade up, it's going to cost us about $1.94, and here's what you're going to need and what you're going to get. You're going to need a gray skin from the Cobblestone collection with a float of 0.26 or less. And you're going to need 9 gray skins from the 2018 Nuke collection with a float of 0.06 or less. If you were able to get those, which should really be quite easy, you can get the Mag-7 Silver Factory New with a 00 float. That will be worth around $15 or so in profit, $15.31. The Nova Green Apple would be the next best at $14.68 in profit. The Sawed Off at $12.73 in profit, and the USP Royal Blue at $10.95 in profit. You get the Galil, you lose about $1.50. And if you get any of the other light blues from the Nuke case, you're going to get yourself about $1.70 to $1.75 loss. Alright, this third one here will cost you about $1.75. What you're going to need is 3 factory new MP7 motherboards with a float of around 0.35. You could go up to, 0.04, and you're going to need 7 other minimal wear MP7 motherboards, or any other light blue from the 2018 Nuke case, with a float of 0.1 or less. This is going to give you a 25% chance at the Op Archon in Factory New, which will be a $2.50 profit, a 25% chance at the P250 Exchanger, which would be an 86-cent loss, a 25 at the MP5 coprocessor, which would be, again, a 90-cent loss, or the P90 negative facility with a 94-cent loss. This one will basically, on average, you won't lose more than $1 per trade up. This next trade up here costs about $1.90, and here's what you're going to need. You're going to need 4 SG Atlases with a float of 0.11 or less, or any other light, blue from the Chroma 3 case. You're going to need another blue from the Chroma 3 case in Factory New with a float of 0.035 or less, and you're going to need 6 of those. If you're able to get lower float minimal wears, you can get a higher float Factory New. Just make sure everything works out before you actually go ahead with the trade up. If you do it right, it gives you a 20% chance at the SG Ghost Crusader, which would be a $2.35 profit. Then you are given a 60% chance to either break even or make 30 cents or so in profit, and only a 20% chance to actually make a loss. So this one's a little bit more float specific, but you have a much better chance to either make your money back or make some profit. This next trade up is going to cost around $2.50. What you're going to need is 5 factory new P90 Cocoa Rampages or any other blue from the Broken Fang case with a float of around 0.035 or less. As I said previously, if you can get the minimal wear floats lower, you can get the factory new floats higher, and vice versa. Either way, you're going to want minimal wears with a float of 0.1 or less. You have a 20% chance for the OP exoskeleton factory new, which would net you a $2.50 profit, i.e. doubling your money. You have a 20% chance to lose 17 cents, and the other losses you're going to lose in between 80 and 90 cents. So for the cost of a case, you have a much higher chance of either profiting or, you have a lot better chances to lose less money. This next trade up here costs $3. You're going to want a single, well-worn, light blue skin from the Havoc collection. Try to get a lower float, but it doesn't really make a big difference. Then you're going to want 9 light blue skins from the Safe House collection. Of those 9, you're going to want 5 to be factory news and 4 to be minimal wears. The factory news, you should try to target 0.04 or less. If you're able to get this float lower, you can get these higher. So if you're able to get, say, a 385 light blue from the Havoc collection, you could do like 4 5s on these G3s. And you're going to try to want to get a 0.11 or less Galil or any other light blue for your minimal wear, but ideally you'd probably want to keep it below 0.1. If you do this correctly, you will have a 3.3 basically percent chance at the Deagle Night Heist, which is an $18 profit. That same percent at 3.23 at the Negev Phoenix Stencil, which is a $9 profit. 3.23% for the Tiger Pit, which would net you an $8 profit, and 3.23 for the minimal wear P250 Bengal Tiger at a $7.66 profit. If you fail, you have a 29% chance for the 5.7 Silver Quartz, which would net you a $1.40 loss, a 29% chance for the FAMAS Teardown, which would be a $1.44 loss, and a 29% chance for the SG Acid Fade, which would only net you a $1 loss. This next trade up is going to cost you $3.25. You are going to need 5 factory new blue skins from the Revolver case with a float of 0.035 or less, and 5 minimal wears with floats of 0.09 or less. Able to do this, you have a 16.67% chance at a Negev Power Loader factory new, which is a $3 profit. That same percent for a factory new SG Tiger Moth, which is a $1.30 profit. That same percent for a 5.7 Retribution, which will break you even basically. And then another, 16.67 for another break even. And your other fails, again 16.6, are going to basically be either a 30-cent to 75-cent loss. Alright, this next trip is going to cost $2.86 on average. You're going to want a single field-tested SG Fallout warning. The float doesn't really matter that much, but if you're able to get a very low float field tested, or really anything below 0.2, you can be a lot more liberal with the floats you use on the rest of these factory news. If you're able to get this to like a 0.18, you should be able to use upwards of 0.05s for these factory new light blue Safe House collection skins, of which you're going to need 9 of them. If you're not able to get a good float, you're going to want 0.35 or less. If you're able to get a good float, you can be a lot more liberal. Just make sure that you use a trade-up calculator to make sure you don't mess it up. If you do it correctly, you have a 3% chance for the Glock reactor, which would give you a 575 profit, a 3 for the MAC-10 nuclear garden, which would give you a $4.80 profit, 3% for the MP9 setting sun at 380, 3% for the Tech-9 toxic, which is $1.84 in profit, and a 3% for the XM bone machine, which would be $1.70 profit. If you miss the trade up, you have a 28% chance at the 5.7 silver quartz, which would be a $1.30 loss. The 28% for the FAMAS teardown, again a $1.30 loss, and a 28% for a 0.001 SG acid fade, which would be an 88-cent loss. Keeping in mind, if you're able to get these lower, you may even get a 000 SG fade, which would actually be a profitable item on the trade up. This next one here costs just shy of $3. You're going to want a well-worn light blue from the Ancient collection, and you're going to want 4 factory new light blues from the Safe House collection with a float of 0.035 or less, and you're going to want 5 light blues from that Safe House collection with a float of 0.1 or less. Those are going to be your minimal wears. If you do it right, you have a 3% for the AUG carved jade factory new, which would be an $8.60 profit, a 3% at the Galil Dusk Ruins, which would be a $10 profit, 3% for the Tech-9 Blast from the Past, which would be $9.83 profit, and the 3% for the minimal wear FAMAS Dark Water, which would be $10.75 profit. If you fail, you've got a 29% at the 5.7, which would be about a $1.40 loss. Same thing with the FAMAS Teardown, same percent, same loss amount. And if you get the SG, it would be a $1 loss. This next trade up here costs a little bit less than the last few we've looked at only $2. You're going to want 9 minimal wear MP7 armor cores from the Chroma 2 case, or any other regular blue skin, but the armor core is generally the cheapest, with a float of 0.11 or less. Then you're going to want a battle scarred skin from the Winter Offensive case. I used the Sandstorm since it's the cheapest. You're going to want a float of around 0.55 or less. Ideally, less than 0.5 would be very good. If you do it right, you have a 2.5% chance. You have a 10% chance to profit, but a 2.5% at the MP5 Rose Iron, which is a 787 profit and a phenomenal play skin for the game. A 2.5% at the FAMAS Pulse, which would be a 425 profit. A 2.5% for the Dual Berettas Marina at $2.50 profit. 2.5% for the Nova Rising Skull, which would be about $2.20 profit. And then you have a 22.5% chance for the Op Worm God Factory new, which would break you even. For your losses, you have a 22.5 for the CZ pole position minimal wear, which would be a $1.50 loss. 22.5 for the Mag 7 heat, which would be a $1.70, and a 22.5% at a $1.70 loss with the UMP Grand Prix. This next trade up costs $3.25. You're going to need a field-tested blue from the Operation Hydra case with a float of 0.2 or less. You're going to need 7 factory new blue skins from the Chroma 3 case with a float of 0.035 or less, and you're going to need 2 minimal wears from the Chroma 3 case with a float of 0.11 or less. You do this right, you have a 10% chance to profit and an 18% chance to break even. You have a 2% chance at the AK Orbit Mark 1, which would be a 1563 profit. You have a 2% for the P250 Red Rock, which would be a $6 profit. 2% for the P90 Death Grip at 640 profit. 2% at the P2000 Woodsman, which is a 440 profit. And 2% at the SG Death's Head for a 350 profit. You have an 18% to get the SG Ghost Crusader, which would be a 50-cent profit. On the rest of these fail outcomes, you have an 18% for each, and you would lose in between $1.20 or upwards of $2. This next trade up costs $4.60 on average. You're going to need 7 MP7 Armor Core factory news from the Chroma 2 case with a float of 0.35 or less. You're going to need 3 P2000 red frag cams with a float of 0.2 or less. If you do this, you have a 7.5% at the Deagle Heirloom Factory New, which would be a 662 profit, a 7.5% for the CZ Tread Plate, which would be a 378 profit, a 7.5% for the 5.7 Copper Galaxy, which would be a 438, and a 7.5% for the Tech 9 Titanium Bit, which would be a $4.50 profit. As for your losses, you could lose in between $2.60 all the way up to $4.30. So this is a very risky trade up for a old collection. So if you like the older collections, this is a good trade up for you. And the last trade up that we're going to talk about today costs $4.73. You're going to need a single field-tested blue skin from the CSGO Weapon Case 2. It's going to cost about $1.76, and you're going to need a float of 0.22 or less. You're going to need 9 factory new blue skins from the Chroma 2 case with a float of 0.35 or less. If you're able to get the Scar 20's float down, you can keep these floats up. If done right, you have a 10% chance to profit. And the big item in here is going to be the 2.5% at the 5.7 case hardened. If you get an average case hardened, you are going to make $8.60 in profit. However, if you're able to get a very rare, blue gem pattern or any of the better case hardened patterns, you could be looking at a considerable amount more of profit. If you get any of the other profit items, you could get upwards of $8.27 for these two MP9 and the Nova, or a profit of $5.26 on the dual Berettas. The fail outcomes would could net you a loss of as low as $2.70 or as high as $4.41. This is the cheapest way to trade up to the 5.7 case hardened, albeit with a fairly low chance. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, or share it with your friends. I will be doing a part 2 of this where I talk about trade-ups under $10 but over $5. That part 2 should be coming out fairly soon. So if you're going to enjoy that or you think you'd be interested, please subscribe so you know when it comes out. Anyways, have a great day. Hope to see you guys next time.